Hey everyone, it's Adam Helfand from Hire It Done. Welcome to the podcast. Today we're going to talk everything gutters. I've got Jacob Vanvliet from J&A Exteriors in studio live with me. Welcome to the show, Jacob.
Thanks for having me, Adam. I appreciate it.
So Jacob, introduce yourself to the audience. Tell everyone what you do.
Yep. So I'm the owner of J&A Exterior. We're a seamless gutter company. We also specialize in a few other services, but our bread and butter is seamless gutter. So I'm 21 years old. I know I'm pretty young fella, but I started the company about 5 years ago doing holiday light installations. A lot of the customers kind of fed off of that, had us do some gutter work, repairs, cleaning, and one thing led to another, and now we're here today.
When you say seamless gutters, can you tell the audience the difference between seamless and what, regular gutters?
Yeah. So if you've ever been to Home Depot or another big name supplier, you can buy pieces of gutter. They usually come in anywhere from 8 feet to 20 feet. The only difference between a seamless gutter and a seamed gutter would be that you can't make a section longer than 20 feet or whatever that pre-bought section is. So for example, if you have a 40-foot building, you'd have to use 2 pieces versus with a seamless gutter, what we provide with our machines is seamless. So we run everything out.
How long can you go with one run?
As long as you want it.
So you do 100 feet?
As long as we have the coil, that's long enough. So I mean,
how long is a coil usually?
We can buy a pre-stock coil for upwards of 1,000 feet. We usually buy by job, so a couple 100 feet per job.
1,000 feet. How much does a 1,000-foot coil weigh?
So every 1 foot or every 2.6 feet is 1 pound. So the math on that would be like maybe 400 feet or 400 pounds, right around a little bit less.
I don't know how to do the math.
380, 390 pounds times 2.6 is about.
If you know the math, put it in the comments. How much it weighs? I'd love to know the real answer.
2.65 times 4 times 3.8, something like that.
Yeah, it's fuzzy math. Who knows? Okay, so you do gutters. Yep. How important are gutters for a house?
Very important. One thing we tell people is it really depends on where you live. You know, some states, not saying you don't need them, but some states it's probably less. Arizona, places where the rain isn't so bad. It seems like lately it's been bad everywhere. So yeah, we got heat on one side of the country and a rainstorm on the other side. So, but very important, you know, especially for the integrity and the foundation of your home. You know, a lot of people's basements, especially where we live in Michigan, they get a lot of basement issues. That's probably our biggest call is leaks in the basement. So
leaks in the basement are related to potentially gutters in a lot of cases.
A lot of cases, yes. You know, it can be a foundation issue. It can be an issue with the grading of the ground level. But a lot of times, if you get new gutters and if your gutters are working properly, you can prevent a lot of those other issues. So,
okay, well, that makes sense to me. So let's break down for the audience the basics of gutters 101. Okay, a gutter is a device that you custom make for a house that catches the water running off the roof. Would that be safe to say?
I guess it's the best way to put it.
Is there a way is there a name of the shape at all, or is it?
So yeah, there's different styles of gutter. There's box gutter, which is what you'll see on most commercial buildings. It's looks like a 90-degree box. And then we have what mostly we install is called K-style. So that's what you'll see on your most residential homes, probably 99% of you, if you go outside, that's what you'll have on your house. If you look at it, it'll look kind of like a K. I guess that's where they get the name from.
Sure.
So other than that, there's half round, which looks like a cereal bowl. So most copper gutters or antique or older style homes will have that half round, which hangs from a hook, and it's essentially a cereal bowl that catches the water and feeds it to the downspout.
So K style is what majority of the homeowners
correct.
have.
Yep.
Okay. So obviously most homeowners in a climate where there's 4 seasons is always going to have gutters.
Yes.
So you've got the K-style gutter. When it gets to an end, something that connects the pieces like a right angle, what is that called?
So there's different styles. It's called a miter or a corner, however the term you want to use. We use strip miters. So that's just a little thin piece of metal that's pre-bent for that corner. So there's 4 different styles, inside, outside, and then inside bay and outside bay. And those are the different angles. So it's either a 45 degree or a 22.5. And that makes 99.5% of the corners. If there's somewhere where we have to custom cut it, then that has to be done. Some companies offer hand cut. Some companies offer box miters, which is like a 3-piece pre-sectional corner, which is kind of amateur level, but we use a strip miter. So it's just one piece that goes along and you have one seam.
Can gutters leak?
All the time. Yeah.
So they
and
can.
That's the main thing about installing them. If you don't install them correctly, that's why they leak most of the time. It's not necessarily the product you're using, it's how they're put in.
And by the way, for all the listeners, this is why it's so important. And I say this with every contractor, that when you're making a decision on gutters, price is a component that's important. Don't get me wrong. However, the installer, the experience is important or more important than the product. Jacob, would you agree?
100%.
So that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if the metal thickness at the end of the day, if it's not put up there right, it doesn't matter how thick the metal is, doesn't matter how strong the brackets are, your hangers, doesn't matter how strong the sealant is that you're using for the ends or
Sure.
for the miters. If it's installed under the drip edge how it should be at the right pitch, you shouldn't have any problems. But again, obviously having a better product, a better aluminum can help in the long run. But if it's not installed correctly, you're going to have issues either way. So
okay, and that's why I wanted people to know that. So if someone has gutters and they're leaking, what are some things people can do today after they watch this and read or listen to this? Go out to their house, stand at the street, look at their gutters.
for sure.
What are they looking for to see if they need them repaired, fixed, replaced?
So there's really 3 things that we look out for when we're looking at gutters. Obviously, there's a lot more we're looking for with us being the professionals, but the main thing that we tell our customers is dripping. So whether that's from the end cap, which is going to be at the very butt end of the gutter, or at the miter, like we talked about a few minutes ago. So just any type of drip, whether you see rust spots, whether you see rain dripping, live action right in front of you, or it looks like there's maybe a green or a brown spot underneath the corner or the end cap of your gutter. Because sometimes even if it's leaking, it might be a slow leak. It might not be leaking this second. It could be frozen. It's very cold outside. But if you see, green patches, or it looks like there was potentially rain that was dripping there, that's probably that's the first thing we look for. The second thing is if you can get outside when it's raining, and you can oversee if you can actually watch, which I'm not saying go stand out there in the pouring rain, but if you can watch your gutter and see if the water's catching inside of it, maybe go stand at the left side or the right side of your house. If the water's catching inside of the gutter, that's obviously a plus. That's what we're looking for. A lot of times, if it's not installed under the drip edge far enough, it'll catch some of the water, but not all of it. So you'll get that tiger stripe look, which is like green lines.
Sure.
Which is kind of the second thing that you're gonna be looking for, those green lines in the face of the gutter. The best way to explain it is like a tiger stripe. It's got green stripes from the mold or from the water lines that come down. And the biggest thing from that is either water flow issue, which can mean your downspout's clogged, or again, it's not up high enough to the shingle to where it's not catching all of the water. So that's the second thing. The third thing is downspout placement, I would say. So if you can walk around your home and you see areas where it maybe looks like it's dug out a few feet in the bottom, you can start to see the foundation level of your home or the water barrier that meets the ground level. That's probably the biggest sign, because a lot of times the gutter guys will put the downspout right where it was just to get the same look to make the customer happy. Our big thing is that we'll go around with the customer and really see, okay, where are you having these water issues, so we can make sure we put the downspout away from that spot. Obviously, you're not going to take the downspout off your house and relocate it. But that's the biggest thing to look out for, is where the water is actually draining out to.
Okay.
Not necessarily the gutter, but the downspout. So, yeah.
Do you guys do gutter repair?
We do. Yep.
So if someone inspects their own gutters, they see a leak in the corner, but it looks pretty good.
For sure.
You can come out and you'll assess them and say, we'll do a repair.
Yes.
Do you offer like a gutter tune-up where you can come and actually do various items?
Exactly. So it's called a CSR, clean, seal, reinforce. Obviously, we can take out the clean, we can take out the seal, we can take out the reinforce part of it. So we're an all-around company. We'll clean your gutters, we'll repair your gutters. If you need one thing sealed up, we'll come and do it. But a lot of times if you have multiple leaks around the home, I'm not saying it will be cheaper to replace one section, but But I mean, if you're only replacing 10 feet of gutter, if you only have an issue with that one spot, we can
clean,
fix that
seal,
one
and
spot.
replace.
Right. So
or repair.
We'll clean the gutter, we'll reinforce and repitch it. So that means we'll add new hangers in, we'll repitch it if we need to, and then we'll seal all the corners.
If it's a dry day, and I say to you, look, I know my gutters leak. Will you bring a hose and run water on the roof and then monitor and see where it's leaking? Or
yeah, a lot of times the gutter cleaning guys will do that. So if we're cleaning the gutters out, the homeowners will say, hey, we have a few leaks, or we feel like we have a leak. Or even if they don't think the pitch is right on the gutter, we'll take the hose and go fill it up. And if you see that it's not draining properly, well, then there's your answer. So,
okay. Yep. Water makes its own level. So.
Right. And even too, if you look at your gutter and it looks like, hey, that looks like it's pitched properly because I can see less of the fascia board, which is the board that sits behind it. If you can see less of it on one side and more of it on the other, well, to the human eye, that looks like it's going to be pitched the right way, right? If it's going downhill. But a lot of times, if you've had an old gutter system, your fascia will start to sag a little bit and your roof will start to sag a little bit, and you really can't tell until you see it in live action.
So for someone who has gutters, they look like they're in decent shape, but they need a little bit of a refresher. Ask for the CSR.
They can ask for a CSR, or they can just have us come out there and explain the issues. Like I said, if we feel like it's something that's going to save them money in the long run for just repairing these for now, and then maybe in 5 to 10 years, you're thinking about a new
Is it
system.
expensive? Do you charge per foot, or is it just per job? You got to look at it.
It really depends on per job. We used to do it by per foot, but it doesn't correlate well with the pricing because some people have a lot more corners or miters, and some people have a lot less. Some people have a lot more work that needs to be done than others. Some people don't have any trees. It means we don't have to clean them. So it really just depends on what you need. Like I said, a lot of times it's either a seal and reinforce or a clean and seal. It's, maybe 30% of the time a clean, seal, and reinforce. But like I said, we'll provide you with what you need first.
Typically when you clean gutters, what are you finding in them?
Leaves, a lot of muck like you'd find in like a swamp, just because when the water mixes with all the leaves, it makes like a mud.
Yeah. Decomposes. And I got you.
So, there's been times we found tennis balls, Barbie dolls. There's
plants
been
growing.
A lot of plants. Right now, ice. That's
obviously
pretty obvious. But
is it normal to see granules from the roof?
Yeah. Any roofer will tell you, even when they're up on the roof, putting the new roof on, there's going to be some granules that'll fall off. Obviously, the better the shingle and the more cautious the roofers are, or whoever's working on the house, it's best. But there's always going to be some type of shingle granule. Now, if you got your roof 2 years ago and you go in there and you could see half an inch or an inch full of shingle granules, that is not normal.
Let me ask you this. A common occurrence or not a common occurrence. Homeowner has gutters on the house that you guys did.
Yep.
And then a couple months later, they have to get a new roof. The roofer comes, does roof. The gutters get a little damaged from the ladders.
Yep.
They pull the gutters off because they got to do some fascia and stuff. Yep. Have you encountered that in the past?
Yep. We I'd say probably 5 or 6 times this year where we had to go back out and either fix something or at least verify that it was good with the homeowner. Just because one thing we tell everyone is if you're getting your roof and your gutters replaced, you want to try to do it first, your roof, just because not saying that the roofers are going to, bang your gutters up, but when they're ripping the stuff off your roof, there's a lot of times they have to take the gutters off to get to certain areas. We work with roofers a lot. So there's times where I talk to guys and they have to take the gutter off. They have to take it off. So if they take it off and they can't put it back on properly, well, then usually we got to come back out and take care of that. So that's something that we run across sometimes. But like I said, if we know they're getting the roof replaced or it could happen in the near future, we'll suggest to wait until.
How often? It's interesting you said, but how often does a homeowner call you for gutters? I'm getting a new roof. I need gutters too.
Yep.
A lot of roofers do gutters?
A lot of roofers do gutters. So they
just call you actually?
Sometimes, some companies do it in-house. Some companies subcontract it out. We work with a lot of roofing companies, so it's good, but also they got to make money as well, which we understand. So sometimes our prices don't match up with each other because, a lot of roofers sell their gutters with the roof as kind of like a package deal, which is, a great sale point. I understand why a homeowner would want to buy that, so I get it. But sometimes our prices don't correlate. So if we're working with the right company and they respect our work quality and we respect their work quality and we can both make it work. That's what we're really looking for.
How busy are you right now? If someone calls you and says, I'm thinking about getting gutters, it's a Monday. What is the results or when are you responding and getting out there?
Yeah. So we, right now in the wintertime, obviously with the the weather, we're not too busy. We still have crews going out every day pretty much. We just finished up taking our holiday lights down. But yeah, we can get out there. I mean, if you call us today, we can have an estimator out there within the next day or two. Typically, when you get to the busy season, it might be 3 to 4 days at the longest. But we're trying to get out there and at least give you an answer or a decision on what you're looking for as soon as we can.
You come out and give the quote. Does the homeowner have to be home, or what is the process for you guys? Because it's an exterior, obviously, job.
Right. So we always suggest to talk to the customer in person, get an understanding of what they're looking for and what their problems are. We can go out to a house and we can take measurements and we can take photos, but if we're not understanding what the actual issues are of the situation, it's a lot harder to determine what you actually need. So, our best thing is having someone at the home to talk to, understand what the problems are. Obviously, if our estimators out there, we can see with our eyes, some things, but not everything. We're not going to go inside your house if you're not there. So, a lot of times we'll get in the basement, we'll go in the attic if we really need to see, okay, what's the actual issue? Which obviously, again, if no one's there, that makes it a little bit harder on our end. Now, with a lot of roofing companies and builders, we understand, if it's a new project and you just need the new gutters, we can do everything virtually. We can price everything virtually. We know our
so you have
price
the ability
points.
to do that.
We do. So,
what about rotted soffits or fascia board or anything behind the gutter, so that to attach the gutter to the house, you have to have a solid substrate.
Correct.
Do you guys repair and do all that?
Yeah. So we always keep fascia board and soffit inside the trailers and inside the trucks. So in case that is the case, up front initially when we're doing the estimate, if we see there's a chance of rot or there is rot that we can very clearly see, we'll grab a paint sample. So we make sure we bring the paint with us whenever we put the new wood on. We're not going to put a gutter over top of a bare board and then tell you got to paint it after. So we'll paint it, before it goes up, even if it's in the shop a few days beforehand, and then we'll bring it to the job site in preparation to install the new wood or lumber whenever we take the gutters off. Now, sometimes we'll see it looks like it's rotted. We'll take the gutter off and it won't be. But 9 times out of 10, if we think it's rotted, it usually is when we get there. So
okay, and you charge per board, per job, per foot, because a lot of people want to know the pricing. How much a foot? How much a foot? You hear that all the time.
Yeah. So when it comes to the fascia and soffit, we do charge per foot, and it's per location as well. So the best way to explain that is, if you have 15 spots on your house with 1 foot, it's going to cost you a little bit more than one spot. 15 feet. Yeah. Reason being, we got to take that board off. We got to put the new one on. We got to seal the corners. We got to paint it. We have to make sure that the studs in the attic, what we're connecting to the soffit, are lined properly. So it is a little bit more work than most people think. It's not just cut the board off and throw the new board up. So we do charge by foot. Typically our minimum per location is usually $100. So it's pretty cheap. Yeah. Most places you don't need more than 3 or 4 feet. So, you can do the math on that. You're usually looking at, $100 to $200 per location of fascia, which again, it's never usually too much. You're not going to have 100 straight shot worth that you're going to replace. It's usually going to be a few feet here and there. Now, if you don't clean your gutters ever and you don't maintenance anything in your house, maybe different. If your gutter's falling off the building or off your house, it might be a little bit different. But sure. Yeah, 9 times out of 10, usually if we're replacing fascia, it's anywhere between 5 and 15 feet. So
when somebody says, I want to change the colors of my gutters, how many colors are available?
So we have 75 different options we can do.
75 colors?
Yeah, 75.
Wow.
So we have a main supplier that we use. They offer 60, and then there's another supplier that we have that can get those other 15 if we need them. And then the 5 and 6 inch do come in different sizes and colors. So the 75 color options aren't available for 5 and 6 inch, but they are all available for 5 inch. I'd say I think 50-ish colors are available for 6 inch, which those 50-ish colors usually will find something pretty close to what you're looking for. So yeah.
Jacob, is gutter protection something that you should put on every gutter, or is it something that's an option? What's your recommendation for homeowners for gutter protection?
I would really say it's kind of environmental based. So if you live in an area where there is no trees, not saying that it's not needed, but it's definitely probably something to think about not getting. I know a lot of people get excited to hear the gutter guards and the leaf guards.
What's the just for the audience, what's the reason for gutter protection?
To keep the debris and the animals and the critters and the pests outside of your gutters.
Leaves, pine needles.
So it's to
pine cones.
Reduce the maintenance. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Okay.
Reduce the maintenance of your gutters. Some people don't know you need to maintenance your gutters, but that's the main reason why people have to replace them so commonly or have to get them fixed. The guards, they do a very well job of protecting the system, keeping the leaves out and the debris out. The one big thing we tell everyone is, just because you have the guard does not mean they're maintenance free. So, you still
clean off.
You still got to blow them off every so often. If you put the guard on there and you don't touch it for 15 years, well, a lot of that debris will kind of pancake on top of it and cause a barrier. So
I got a house. There's no trees around my house. In an open field is my house.
Yep.
Gutter protection, don't need it.
No.
Okay.
No.
I've got a house with pine trees, very tall, and they're close to the house. I get pine needles everywhere. Definitely. Is there a certain type of gutter protection that you need to use for that, or will any suffice?
There's certain kinds that do certain things. There's a very finite mesh guards. There is standard guard. There is aluminum.
Is there one
guard
that does it for everything?
Yeah. So the guard that we install, I'm not going to sit there and say that it is the most expensive product on the market, but it does what you need it to do. Again, it's no flashy. There's not 16 barriers of liner on it, but it keeps the debris out. It keeps the pine needles out. It keeps what you need out. Now, there can, by chance, be some debris that will fall through. There's going to be some settlement that'll come through, some dirt.
You still have to clean it every year, too. So.
Yeah, that's common. I mean, it's a gutter. If you don't have the guard on there, there's going to be debris in it. If you have the guard on there, there's going to be a lot less debris in it.
Again, I would defer, and for the listeners, if you come to the house, you'll recommend what product they need.
Right, exactly.
You sell more than one gutter guard product, though? Or?
Yeah, we sell 2 different kinds.
Okay.
And again, the biggest thing is, what do you need for your home? So if you have some trees, but not the biggest, and you don't have any pine needles, and you don't have anything that's really going to get inside of the gutter system, we'll suggest a more standard guard if you want it. Now, again, if someone wants gutter guard and they are adamant on the fact if they want it, we will put it on. One big thing, it keeps pests out. So, if there are birds that nest inside of your gutters as well, obviously with a screen over the top of it, that's not going to happen. But the biggest thing is, we tell people it's an investment. So if you're paying us $250 to come out twice a year to clean your gutters, that's $500. After 5 years, you have already spent $2,500 cleaning your gutters.
What's a downside, if there is any, to having gutter guards?
Yeah. So if you don't maintenance them, again, if you get the gutter guards installed and you don't touch them for 10 years,
you don't do any maintenance.
You didn't do anything to them. The biggest downside is that when you have a gutter contractor who's honest with you, is going to come out there and say, hey, look, the only way for us to repair and fix your gutters is to take these gutter guards off, clean out the debris that you have not taken care of in the past however many years, and then put the gutter guards back on or replace everything. Okay. The biggest thing is that you're going to have to pay for the labor to take them off and put them back on, and they're not very copy-paste products. If you cut one piece for this corner,
right,
it goes to that corner. Right. So you can't take the gutter guards off and then put them back on. You can, they just probably won't be installed how they should be.
Can a homeowner do gutter guards on part of the gutters?
100%. Yeah,
so we don't have to do everything.
We do that all the time. So if they have the second story that's maybe 60 or 70 feet that has the back of the home that only the trees are there, but the whole front of the house doesn't have any trees, we'll tell them, hey, maybe just think about putting it in the back section. Again, it's more of areas that you can get to. Maybe you have a ladder. Maybe you're comfortable with getting up and cleaning your own gutters. Great. But if there's a second story gutter and you don't have maybe a 36-foot ladder or 40-foot ladder that you can't reach, we'll put it on that section. So that way, okay, this is good. Call us out every few years to have us blow it off, look at it, make sure everything's working and up to date. And then obviously the homeowner could clean the rest of the gutters himself if that's what they wanted to do.
Have you ever installed heat tape in gutters?
We have. We've done it 2 times. So it's kind of something that I will say it's not my favorite thing to do, just because a lot of times in order to run it how you want it, you got to put the wire behind the gutter. Wow. And it causes the fascia, the gutter to sit off the fascia. Now you can do it other ways. It's just that the wire has to run somewhere. So it's either going down the downspout, which again, I don't like doing, because if there's water that gets inside there and it freezes, the wire can break, it can get snipped. It can get buried under the ground. And again, it can cause a cloggage inside of the gutter. If you have a wire running through and it starts to spiral, it can cause a clog. So other than that, I mean, You can do it. We don't do it too often. So yeah.
Jacob, typically on a regular gutter job for a house, let's say it's a 2-story house, it's not a walkout, so you don't have the extra large ladders. Can you get a gutter job done in a day?
Yeah. So we most days we're usually doing one bigger project or one bigger size home. Some days, if we have a busy crew and we have a bunch of guys, we'll do 2. But most of the times, it's a single day project.
And then you have also crews that are doing repairs and
yeah. So we have a maintenance crew. They do cleanings, repairs. We also offer like little things like power washing the gutters in case they need to be extra cleaned, roof clean offs, things like that. And then they do also singular guard projects. So if there's homes where they're not getting new gutter, but they're getting just guard, our maintenance team will take care of that. And then we have 2 install crews. So a 5-inch crew and then a 6-inch crew who do just gutter installations and fascia and soffit repair.
If someone wants to get a hold of you, give them the number of the website.
Yep. So if you guys want to get a hold of us, the phone number is 248-403-0281. We're located in Macomb, Michigan, right off 24 Mile Road. And if you guys want to go to our website and check us out, learn more about our services or what we do, you can check out our social media everywhere. It's J&A Exterior, or our website's jaexterior.com, but that's on YouTube, social media. That's on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn,
and hireitdone.com.
And hireitdone.com. Yeah. So it's jaexterior.com or JA Exterior.
Jacob, question for you. What's the best gutter for your house?
The one that's installed properly.
Bam!
What you got?